Welcome once again to a great new episode of The Universal Lens. As you can see, things look a little different. We're still the same. I'm John Emilio along with Henry Belcher as always, but you can see we have a little bit of a fresh take on things right now, right?
We just got done painting this wall.
Painting it. I laid that brick myself this morning.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You laid the brick and I painted it. That's the division of labor.
Yeah, new logo, new backdrop, new format, new feel. And we're going to get back to the topic that, I mean, we never lost. I shouldn't say that. We never lost that topic, mindfulness or awareness. But the last probably 6-7 episodes, there was a heavy spirituality.
There was
feel to it, which is great. But I think we kind of want to stay on track with the practical part of it, which is really useful for people.
Searching awareness.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, for those who follow me and follow us, there'll be a second podcast, which I'm doing called My God, Your God. That's going to be more spiritual. That's going to be actually all spiritual. But so follow there if you want to check that out. That'll be coming out soon. But let's get back to business here.
Yeah.
What's helped us and helped many over the last X amount of
as we learned doing this for so many years now. I can't believe I just said that statement. But as we learn doing this for several years now,
it's like a job.
Well, but what
it doesn't feel like what
I was going to say is just how much the mindfulness practice can help you in every facet of life.
Oh my God!
And we've here in this show we've talked about every situation, listen, on this show, we've talked about suicide. We've talked about journeys that your mind takes you on. We've talked about, like everything. Like we talked about so much. And that's simply because this thing that we talk about every week, week in, week out, is something that we hold very near and dear to our hearts because it's a special way to experience life. It's a special way to experience those around you. It's a special way to awaken from the usual day-to-day, the usual story.
Monotony in the mind.
It's something that, in every facet, because you come across people every day and, you say they're blind. They just don't see. And
that's true. Yeah.
Simply put, they haven't reached, to quote Eckhart Tolle, they haven't reached a level of awareness, which is they're not there yet. So they live in this thing. And, ironically enough, this happens in all families. All right. Rarely do I come across a family. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but rarely do I come across a family where everybody is so aware that there is no bickering. There is no.
They might not even be aware. It could just be as also Eckhart says, it hasn't happened yet.
True.
It hasn't happened yet. That issue or that conversation or that event hasn't happened to that family where that chaos.
Yeah. And it's funny.
And they are far and few in between.
The irony of that is so ironic. So ironic. I'm only going to talk for me here. But the irony of that is when I was growing up, I used to have this jaded image. Remember, when I was growing up, I had zero awareness. I was taught zero about mindfulness, zero about how to get in touch with your mind and the story and your ego. So imagine it's growing up. In my eyes, I grew up in the perfect house. In my eyes, this is the perfect house.
That's what you knew, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that was the family you knew.
So come time where you're dating, right? You're dating. And in my case, I happen to be dating my future wife. You size that house up to your house.
Well, comparison, yeah.
And it's never.
Very unconscious.
And it never meets the standard, right? Because
the grass is greener on the other side.
Because I am under the impression that my house is. We don't have family quarrels. We don't have divorces. We don't have,
Not yet.
Right?
Not yet.
So that's what I mean about awareness. So I was not aware and boy, not yet. So life gave me a lot of yets.
Yeah.
And it's strange how, your perception of something is one thing and then yet happens, not yet happens.
Yet will happen.
And it happened. And you're
and
not.
Yet could be anything, right? It could be anything.
Anything with anyone, but you're just not equipped to handle it because your awareness is missing.
So if all parties involved in that, and we're still talking about like, okay, so obviously you're going to catch on today's, we're kind of talking about families and family issues and how mindfulness is a major proponent to resolving those issues, and probably from, in my opinion, the best way to resolve any family issues. The people who are having some sort of an issue in the family, if both parties involved are unconscious, and when we say unconscious, like we said 1,000 times on the show, unconscious meaning they don't have the awareness, right. They don't have the presence. They have the thought, they believe the thought, they think the thought is the gospel, the thought is fact, the thought is 100% true, right? I'm right, you're wrong. Right. Let's say that's the thought. If both parties are like that, what are your chances of resolving that issue? A, in a timely manner, or B, at all, if anything at all? They become slim to none. I mean, I know so many families besides my own, and I've had issues in my family, sure. Which, by the way, mindfulness and presence have resolved. But I know so many families that are currently going through it, have gone through it, and took years, to the point where I think they finally forgot what they thought about after 20 plus years. Did they come together again? But 20 years of life, 15 years of life passed you, and you don't even remember what the quarrel was. Or at this point, it doesn't even make a difference anymore. But isn't it? It's said that much time has to pass, right? What if one of the parties is mindful, is present, has that level of awareness where they could see their ego go, even if I think I'm right, even if my mind's telling me I know I'm right, how do I resolve this issue instead? Right? It could be giving the person space, allowing the other person who's maybe, attached to their emotions or attached to this issue or event because they feel there needs to be justification there, allowing them the space and the time to process it while you're acting as a mirror for them. So it's not like, the mindful person doesn't just sit there and like disappears completely and says, well, screw you, I'm mindful, I'm going to leave. No. When their paths cross with that person, whether it's at a family event or day to day, however it could be, they still approach them with a level of awareness and mindfulness and presence where we're more than that. Even though that issue did happen, I'm going to show you that I'm not retaliating. Yeah. I'm not going to inject why I'm right. I'm not going to tell you why my side of the story is right. I'm not going to tell you why my ego needs to be justified. I'm not going to tell you what you did wrong. I'm going to allow you to process that on your own time. And the less that you try to justify your angle in that argument, and the more that you hold presence for that person, it's amazing how that person slowly starts, and then it gets quicker and quicker. All of a sudden, they start coming around a lot faster because they're starting to see a person in front of them who's not being aggressive, who's not retaliating. You're not feeding their ego, right? We always said the ego needs to be fed. Yep. Right. So if I go to you and go, but I'm right. Why is everybody getting mad at me? What I did, if I'm going to act like that, what am I doing? I'm feeding their ego, and it becomes a game of tennis, and you're going to go back and forth.
You're not providing the outlet which they want to plug into.
No, and if you do that, what happens? You allow that person to disarm automatically, naturally, and then can a conversation be had? If needed, it can. Sometimes there is no conversation. All of a sudden, the fence is amended miraculously overnight, and this person all of a sudden comes back to you with warmth. Now you have a choice to make there. Do you accept that person back in? Or do you now need to tell that person, well, I'm glad you're back, but I'm going to tell you something. What are you doing? Then again, you're speaking from a place of ego. You're not speaking from a place of awareness. You're not being mindful. You're not watching your emotions. You're reacting. You're not responding. You're reacting to them again. So many more families and family issues. And I hear more about them every day. Every day. It's like, somebody else I know, well, these two sisters aren't talking, or those two sisters aren't talking, or that brother and sister aren't talking, or these two cousins aren't speaking. And I'm like did somebody murder somebody? No. Even then you could find a way to forgive. Like what like, yeah, over the almighty dollar? Yeah. Most of them.
More than likely.
Right? Yeah. Let's say most of them is over money or power or position in a family.
Right.
Then it could be something stupid like, well, they didn't pick me for this. And
that's right.
Again, and when that person says that, I don't get mad at that person. We're at the point now where we can look at that person and we could say, why is that person saying that? Why is that person saying they didn't pick me for X, right? there's a reason why they're saying that. It could be things that have happened to them in their past. Like, they're not saying it because they want to be mean. They feel hurt. It's a cry, right? But you only see that if you're a mindful, aware person. I could see your pain, even though you're lashing out at me. I could see what your pain is. But if I could sit there and hold that presence for you, I'll allow you to process that pain a lot quicker, and hopefully you'll start to inch back. But at the same time, I keep putting the olive branch out, right? You keep putting the olive branch out.
I'm going to add a level of nuance that you were not expecting. Yeah.
Oh boy.
And let me tell you this. I commented when you said you're going to start a new podcast. I commented and I said, how the roads are very parallel to each other, and sometimes they intertwine.
They do, 100%.
And although we want to stay mindfulness, I was the one, I don't know if you recall, when I said, if you act like Jesus, you're acting mindful.
Oh, absolutely.
I say that to say this. You said a lot about being the mirror, being the placeholder for that relative. In this case, we're talking about family stuff. So that relative, whatever it may be, whoever it may be. And I'm going to say this. If that relative is walking in a white light, not a dark light, there is so much hope for that person. Even though the ego took control, even though the ego is the one saying, what about me? You almost can make a connection with that person's soul behind the ego and understand that person is really a good person. We know that person at the root, and even though they're doing stupid shit right now and they're talking stupid crap, I'm going to be the mindful one here, and I'm going to hold a place. I'm not going to.
Yeah, but can I ask you a question? When you said they're walking in with light, with I guess a lighter light instead of a dark light, what do you?
Well, so I'll be specific, and I harken back to the.
Wish I could harken music. Push the button.
I'm a big flanker and a harkener.
Yeah.
Harken back to the conversation we had with your co-host, Michael Camarada.
Yeah.
And I said, so Michael, and this is a gentleman, just a quick recap, a gentleman who actually passed away for a few seconds and came back to this world. Yeah. And I remember that we had boiled down the conversation to, is it a fight between good and evil? He goes, yes, it is. And that is what I'm getting at. That you could be holding, you said placeholder. You could be guideposting mindfully for that person in your family with which you have a quarrel or some sort of dispute with or some disagreement. And then eventually.
What if they're an evil person?
What if?
I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, because you know mine.
Yeah. No, I know.
There are situations and there are situations.
So agreed.
The mindful person is going to be mindful in both situations.
Absolutely, because does he know benefit to not be mindful?
No. That's just how it is. But there's something to be said when I am mindful with somebody who has salvation potential, and there's another matter where you're clearly you can identify Lucifer is before you.
and yes, I think in that case, and I was actually going to say. Before you started, I was going to say there are times where you're just dealing with a toxic person where no matter what you try to do, unfortunately, they just don't come around because they don't have the wherewithal to see beyond their agenda or their bias.
Look how much mindfulness has done for me, because I'm speaking about a situation with myself.
Yeah, you don't have to give
obviously. I don't have to tell these, but I am to the point in my relationship with myself and the universe. And however you want to call the ultimate power, that I am willing to hear out the other side. I am willing to forgive. I am willing to also forget. Like as bad as that may sound, but simply put, I'm willing to put down my weapons. You know what I mean? Like I put down my weapons.
Yeah.
But that's it. Because you understand that person is very evil, very toxic, and they can continue being that way, but just not in my life.
And when you do come across that person, this is where you make a choice. This is where I think Eckhart says it best. If you could change the situation. If you can't, you leave it. If you can't leave it, you absolutely accept the situation. So it's one of those things where I think if you're dealing with that person who with all your best efforts of being mindful and present for them and holding that space for them and being that mirror for them, if they are still just a toxic, or as you said, evil, dark person, then that's where you remove yourself as best you can from the situation. And if that ever changes, it changes. Yes. So most people in a family aren't that, but there are. And they're not few, far and few in between. They are. And so if you're out there and you have an issue with somebody in your family, what are most of the issues that people have? I feel hurt. I feel I'm not heard. I feel I haven't been taken seriously. I feel like I've been slighted. But look what my hand's doing every time. I. It's this ever revolving merry-go-round about me, what I haven't gotten, what I didn't get. Right?
Who's talking?
The ego. Right. The ego's going,
That's
me.
It. That's it.
Me. Why me? Why am I? And if you're an aware, mindful person and you live your life like that, you will see that immediately. You will see that person is just spotlight and going, do you understand why this isn't right for me? There's no big picture there. They're not seeing beyond that, right? It could be, why didn't you pick me for this? Well, did you ever ask? Did we have a conversation to maybe why I picked person B instead of you?
Sure.
There was a reason why, not because I don't love you, not because I don't care about you, not because you don't mean anything to me, but because whatever. Like, there's a reason why that decision was made. But you're so blinded by it, or this person will be so blinded by it, that they don't understand that it wasn't done because we don't love you. It was done because there was other factors, but your ego needs to be heard.
So if in this particular case,
let's just use.
But let's go with this case. If your decision to pick somebody else for whatever the occasion, if your decision to pick somebody else is coming from a good place, there was no malice, there was no intent of anything.
No.
If that other person were mindful, the quick knee-jerk reaction is, "Oh, that sucks, bro. What?" And then they'd reel it in, and they'd be like, that person that he chose must be very special. And you know what?
They chose what they chose.
And he must be very special, or she, whatever. It's very special. And you know what? I respect that. And nothing has changed between me and John. We still love each other. He treats me the best. So I continue loving my brother. He's the best. And yeah, okay. So he didn't pick me to go on the 3-person fishing trip. That's fine. At the end of the day, whatever. It's not going to break my peace. It's not going to break my...
You're not going to allow it to.
My sanity.
No.
Next time I see him, I'm still going to love him. I'm still going to do anything. And nothing, like, because I come from a good place.
Exactly. But you notice that story. You notice that story is there.
It takes 2 to tango.
It does.
You know?
It does. So when you have 2 people who are mindful, you'll never have an issue like that. You won't, because...
If
I do something, you're going to see why I'm doing it. Or if you're confused, you're actually going to approach and have a conversation about it. Go, I'm sorry. I don't understand. Why did you not ask me to, or whatever it might be?
Right.
Why did you pick her over me? Or why, did I do something wrong? Did I? No, it was just that. Oh, you know what? I never looked at it that way. All right. No problem. Water under the bridge. Move on with our lives. Absolutely. Love you to death. But how often do you have 2 people?
Yeah.
In a party that are, it happens. Unfortunately, it's a rarer occasion. I wouldn't say it's like spotting Bigfoot, but I'd say it's a rarer occasion than it is a more common occasion. More common is one person. More common is both people are just flat out unconscious. So it's 2 me's. Me. It's me and me. That's it. It's me. They never talk about we, us. How do we do this? Oh, it breaks my heart to see so many families just torn apart. And you could pick the topic. It could be anything at all, right? The topic doesn't matter. Does one party understand why the other party is upset? Why? And if you are a mindful person, you're going to understand that the reason they're upset is because their ego has been bruised in one way or another. It's been kicked. It's been neglected. It's been passed over. It's been not given credit. Like
everything.
That's what it always comes down to. Like it's why do you feel shortchanged?
It could also be perception. So sometimes you feel you've been shortchanged.
It's not reality,
right?
No,
sometimes
it's your bias.
Sometimes,
sometimes.
And it's funny as you're talking. I'm thinking of a very real situation, and like It happened with me, like the co-host of this show, that I got into a bit of a spat with my sister-in-law. And there we are. Yeah, and there we are at the dinner table, and I broke character. He said, what do you mean? I was going at it, and she was coming at me, and like, you're not going to tell me what I can and can't say. And we were going. Okay. At the end of the dinner, we weren't talking. The tension filled the room. By the time we went home, I saw her at the end of her car, which was parked in front of my car. We gave each other the biggest hug and kiss, and she goes, "You're an ass," and I go, "Yeah, but we love each other." And I'm going to say that in that moment, that was my example of two mindful people who maybe weren't acting mindfully a few hours ago.
No.
But right now, in the reconciliation, they both were aware that they're stupid, and we were acting like kids.
Well, yeah, but because both parties had that,
and the outcome was beautiful.
Was beautiful.
You know, the outcome was the way it should be, because
Absolutely.
Nothing we talked about was worth a rupture. You know, nothing is. You know, it's not worth any rupture.
No.
But
because you see it that way, because you live your life that way. But how many people don't? How many people out there don't?
That argument right there would have been the end of it. Yeah, for some people.
How many people don't? How many people, all they want to do is, I want you to understand why you have to hear my side, why I'm hurt, why I'm at. And look, stating why you're upset about something, because we're all human and we have emotions. I mean, it's not like we're void of them. Somebody could do something that does make me feel slighted. I'll know where that's coming from in me or automatically. But if I wanted to have a conversation, you'd be like, hey, listen, just so you know what you said, that comment you passed, I didn't appreciate it. I still love you. Like, you could be honest and you could talk to somebody. I'm going to let you know that pinprick hurt a little bit, right? So you could have those kind of conversations also. When it's things which are bigger, especially when it comes to money, family inheritances, like those are huge ones that have ripped. Because what I am due, what I must have, my place in the family hierarchy.
Or worse.
It could be, or worse. Unfortunately, they do rip families up. They do. They just shred families apart. So if somebody in your family is going through something like that, use this. Use the approach of being mindful. Watch your own thoughts. Watch how you want to tell that person why you think you're right, and let that pass for a second and see what comes up behind it. And if it's still a aggressive tone in that thought that comes up, allow that one to pass also. And this, you start noticing, as you're allowing these thoughts to pass, something in us is watching that happen and noticing in us what we don't like. And when you do that, now you're able to curate a more pointed response, if it's even merited in that moment, or you can have a conversation with somebody from a very neutral position where you're just trying to resolve the issue, not to be vindicated, not to be right, not to be heard, not to be, me. And it becomes, well, how about we? How about us? How do we mend these fences? How do we make this a family again? And you can do it. I don't care. Like, no matter what it is, you can do it if the other person does start to, like you said before, right? Unfortunately, there are people who are just,
over the top,
blind, unconscious. And there's only so much you could do. But if you feel like that person starts inching, taking little steps towards you, well, now you know there's progress being made. So you don't need to tell that person why you think you're right. Now your goal should be, how do I mend this fence with this person that I care about, this person that I love, that we fought over something stupid. We fought over a part of our mind that needs to be right, or needs to be felt that it's the most important thing in the world. Like, notice that. Like, that destroys relationships. It ruins families. It ruins friendships. It ruins even work environment. Like, it'll ruin everything when it's me. Like, I've got to tell you why I'm the best, or why what I did was great, right? The whole I thing, like, and I know we said, like, with the whole, you said before, what would Jesus do? He always says humility is key. Like, humility is something that will teach a person how to watch that thought go by and go, that's not me. Like, I don't need to tell you why I'm great or why I'm right. Let it happen organically. If I was right in the situation, or if I was correct in the way I did it, or the person was correct, organically we'll get there. Right. But the more I tell you I think I'm right, the more I have conversations with my cousins or my aunts or my sisters or my brothers or my parents to why like, you keep that you keep that theme, so to speak,
That tension.
that tension, you keep feeding it to with that person or the other person in your family. What are you doing? All you're doing is you're lighting more brush fires around the bigger fire, and you're just creating a bigger issue. You have to let all that go. You have to drop that, let it go. Understand that if you're making this about why I need to be right, that fence will never be mended. It just won't.
So I've been at this practice for what, 2 or 3 years, right? With you?
Started in 22 November. Yeah.
I can't tell you the benefit it has even produced for my marriage.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because communication between couples, tends to be strange at times because
it's family, right?
Yeah.
Falls under that umbrella. Absolutely.
Because at any given point, your defenses could be down. Maybe you had a bad night's sleep. Maybe you're going from one fire to another. By the time you see your spouse, you've had it. And naturally you've had it. Oh, you've had it? Well, I've had it too. And then you're bickering. So many times I have seen myself from 20,000 feet, and then I hit the brakes in the middle of the racetrack. And I say, this would be a common thing for me to say. I'm sorry for the volume. I'm sorry for anything, but come back. And I just want to say the point without the colors. The point is that you said do this and I did that. That's it. Without extra color, pizzazz, without the extra zinger. So, and many times it's been well received from my wife, who's the one providing the outlet for me to, to electrocute myself.
That's a good way to put it.
So, and it's worked. And I'll do one more. So it's also come back to me, where just my simple posting. For example, a good post would be like, if I see you want to start something with me, I don't give you the outlet. But by me not giving you the outlet is providing enough signals to you that you're looking for an outlet.
Yeah.
So when she noticed, which is a big thing for me. And she would say,
you were being a mirror for her.
And she said, I'm sorry. Still pissed, but said, I'm sorry. And then I'll put my hand on her back. You don't say anything else. You're good. And not a word has to be spoken. Understood.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's beautiful when you see that happen.
Because we're humans. We're gonna, as I said, we always slip,
As long as we live here on this plane in life, right?
John, I got here. You're on a stressful, what I interpret as a stressful call, and you probably had another stressful situation before that. So by the time you see me, you're like, bro, hair's on fire, blah. I'm just saying, it could be. So that would be a bad time for your wife to say, what are you doing? And they're like, bro, you would be caught off guard and quickly slip into, but quickly, helicopter, at some point during that quarrel, you realize that, and you'd go from 100 to...
Just try. It's as easy now, and I hate to use the word easy, but I think it's, you gain the experience and the wisdom where you're able to just, even though you feel sometimes the emotional charge is still left, but you could put it down. And the emotional charge is there, but now you stop feeding it. And it's like residual electricity when you unplug something. Sometimes there's that 1 or 2 seconds where that light stays on still on a light or something. You cut the power, but there's just enough energy going through it where it just stays lit for a second or two and then it goes out. That's what I could equate it to. I could cut the energy off to it, and not for a second or two, I'll feel it, or whatever, a minute, whatever it might be, a few minutes, I'll feel that residual flood of energy. That charge is, I could feel it's there. But now I'm not energizing it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that power disconnected from it, and it withers away, and it flows. That's like, allowing a thought to pass and not grab it, allowing an emotion to pass and not grab onto it. Because if you do, every time you do grab onto it, your mind makes bookmarks it. This is how we want to react to this. And the more you do that, the more that becomes your instinctual response.
That level of awareness yields a level of maturity that is going to impress you. I'm sure it has impressed you in your performance.
I see my bias and my pitfalls every day. I see them. I know they're there. I see them.
It's impressive. It must be impressive to yourself that you would say, wow, we could have had a stupid quarrel over where you put the bonsai tree, which is something that, again, it's the quintessential, you left the toothpaste cap off the tube.
And it has nothing to do with the toothpaste cap.
Right.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
But there's so many straws along the way.
Oh.
And the thing is, they're all straws. What are we arguing about a straw? Like, it's insignificant. At the end of the day, there's nothing.
Even that saying, a straw weighs nothing.
That's the point.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
we could make it into
this hay bale.
We could turn that piece of straw into a hay bale, and the hay bale becomes 20 hay bales, and that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah.
But the one straw won't. If you see it and you don't start putting those straws together, and now you're creating hay bales yourself. But that's what people tend to do.
Yeah.
That's why people have issues daily, every day in their families, is because all they do is they get those pieces of straw and they create hay bales for them.
Yeah.
And there's more issues. And I need to be, and all of a sudden they're like this.
And you know what?
Sure, you're going to succumb to that pressure.
Ultimately, I think our message is always and has always been how to achieve mindfulness for yourself. And I think by achieving it for yourself, you can mirror it to somebody else.
Absolutely.
But you also safeguard yourself, because in families, you're not only dealing with your direct family, you're also dealing with the people that married your family, the other people that are offshoot related to you. And so now you have input coming from the peanut gallery, or it could be a legit gallery because they married, or the kids or whatever, but there's input coming from
everybody else. Yeah.
There's input coming from a bad place, a good place, whatever.
Well, sometimes people think they're coming from a good place.
So that
best of intentions.
Your mindfulness plays a big role in how that situation is handled, or
absolutely,
or the dispute. There's a dispute. Great. How do we handle that dispute and address it, let's say, correctly? Correctly meaning, hey, in a way that we won't sever, like if we handle this correctly. Because ultimately, I love you. Ultimately, I want to have a relationship with you, not screw you. I'm not going to.
What issue in life, whether it's, I mean, not even to go through them, doesn't matter what the issue is that you're having with a family member. What is so important that you be willing to lose a brother, a sister, a mother, a father, a son, a daughter, whatever it might be. And if you really break it down to and we said this so many times during the show, even today, if you really break it down to the core of what it actually is, what is it? Why you feel blank. Why I feel blank. Why I
feel slighted. I feel jealous.
Yeah, and you'll realize, who the hell is this I that keeps telling me how I'm supposed to feel? It's a part of our body that instinctually wants to keep you alive, and it doesn't know any other way to do it. And the part of your mind that does this is to say, we have to keep Henry relevant. We have to keep John relevant, because if he's not relevant in the situation in his family, he's going to be the forgotten one. How does he stay relevant? And as long as that's the tone that you keep taking, where do you think it's going to end?
Yeah.
So if you could get past that, nothing that could happen in a family, nothing can't be resolved, can't be mended, can't be transcended. Like we say in the show, right? Transcendent doesn't mean, oh, it was resolved. You have a lot of therapists, and listen, God bless them for the work they do. So say, you must resolve the issue, tell the person how you feel. And there is a time and a place, like we said before, right? You can tell somebody mindfully, right? And intellectually what happened, how it hurt you, or how it made you, but you could say it from a very non-egoic place. Not, well, you did this to me. No, it was like, hey, listen, when you did that, I got to tell you, it makes me feel good. Like, I wasn't trying to hurt you when I said, like, that was, it hurt me. I felt like I needed to communicate that to you. That's it. Like, it's done. It's over. And that person might say, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't cross the line when I did that. I said that. Like, you could have that conversation. Or you could choose the other road. The other road, and the other road's going to be, I, me, why it's all about me and I, and if that relationship's not worth it for you, or if you feel so strongly about being right, are you willing to lose that family member? Right? There's an old adage, swallow your pride, right? Well, that sounds very repressive, right? When they go swallow your pride, like swallow it and hold it down. Think about what it actually means. They say swallow, so when we think of the word swallow, we think like hold it down. Instead, let go of your pride. I think that's a better way to put it. And that means just release the pride. Really, I don't need to be right. When I don't need to be right, you know what I never lose? I don't lose peace in my life, because that part of me that always wants to be right, like you say in Italian, I tell it, oh, fangulo, go. That's great. You want to be right. You can always, but you're going to be exhausting to me to be like that. It's exhausting if you always in a conversation, whether it's a family or a friend or whatever it might be, that you need to be right. How's anything going to get resolved? Like I could tell you in my family, and I don't go into any specifics. Like all families have had problems. My family's not.
We're not vaccine from it.
Yeah. I'm not void of having issues in my family, but I could tell you 100% without a doubt, the approach that was taken of being mindful and aware and present, loving and caring, and being able to speak with people mindfully. At times in the beginning, maybe it was heated, but understanding that no, this isn't how, and always leaving that olive branch out there. I can tell you, like, resolved issues got resolved without even talking about them. Like we never had to sit down and say, well, this happened, and
right.
and you, like it never happened. And for me, that's beautiful because a family gets mended again, right? And I see so many families out there that aren't doing that, and people are like, well, what can I do? I'm like, there's not much you can't do, because if you try to force a person to come over, it's still you're being aggressive with them.
Sure.
It's got to be a more, you have to let the person know, I love you and I'm here for you, whatever you want to discuss this, or whatever it might be. And then if that person is willing to, remember, we always said in mindfulness, the person has to be an effort, right? I can't force my wife to be mindful or my kids to be mindful.
Willingness must be there.
Yes. Well, I forgot what chapter it is, but willingness is like, if you're willing, it's possible. Like anything in life is possible. If you're willing, it's possible. It's possible. Absolutely possible. You know?
Yeah.
So I definitely implore families to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think if you are, I'm going to use the term clean of spirit, like if you come from a really
good place,
it's
like saying you come from a good place,
where you literally released your ego and you released, the need to be right. You released it all and you communicated it, honestly and, authentically.
Yeah.
The rest is now on the other person.
Yeah. Even that need, like you said, to release it, or that person who's able to do that, who's good spirited, or like we say, comes from a good place, there's already a level of awareness in that person. For that person to be able to take that approach, even naturally, like, well, they never really practice mindfulness. Right. There's already a level of awareness in them where they see they're biased and are already by default, which is amazing, right? There are people who by default have this and a lot of it is the way they were brought up in life. So that becomes their hardwired program, the way their mind works. They're able to see that in themselves and they're able to do that automatically. So those people who we say are good-hearted, nice, just good, nice, like somebody who has best of intentions, that person already they're not unconscious. There's already, that switch is just on, but it's there. Because if it wasn't there and it was off, then that wouldn't be how many people who who are unconscious, you go, salt of the earth kind of guy. Like, I'm talking like salt of the earth, not argumentative, talks his way through things, there's a light when this person comes in the room. Yes. They're always, anybody who speaks to them about an issue always feels like they see things differently when they're done talking with that person. That person is not unconscious. Like that person, those people, there's already a level, whether it's a higher level or a lower level, where they're just starting to understand it or they truly understand how that works. It's already there, right? It's going to be there, that like it'll be inherently there.
Yeah.
Is your light on or is your light off?
You could be in the first person you described is an unconscious, conscious person. The second person is unconscious.
Yeah. Second one's a dark room. Yeah. And the first one, the dimmers are on. Yeah. The dimmers are on.
That's why I think that, this show is going to provide some good content for your religious show. Because I think that, religion.
Which Henry will make appearances on.
I have to. I sort of will muscle my way in there.
No, you don't have to muscle your way in there. Absolutely.
Because I'm telling you, again, my religious is neither here nor there. They're definitely there, but I'm not exactly.
It's not religious. My God, your God. The show isn't a religious show. It's a spiritual show about God.
I
just about the church.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's I think.
But it's not about what we're talking about here either. It's not about presence or anxiety. It's going to be literally about.
But I say that to say this.
Yeah.
Is that I have a feeling. There's this feeling that you get. There's the vibe. There's the whole you have this extra sense when somebody's walking in the light or walking in the dark.
Are they walking with, and this, I know this has nothing to do with the show, but are they walking with the Holy Spirit or are they walking without the Holy Spirit? That's it. So in other words, is their
Let
spirit,
that mean whatever
is
it
their
means.
spirit, well, yeah, is their spirit shining or not?
You know,
And that does tie into what we do here, because we say that awareness is what you can't, awareness doesn't have a voice, doesn't have a mind, doesn't think, doesn't say, it just notices. Your spirit does the same thing. So
it does. Wow, it's just crazy.
Different level.
That's another dimension.
Yeah, that it attaches to a whole different dimension, that part. But on a base level of psychology, let's just say, that's what mindfulness is. Like, mindfulness is you have unlocked and you're aware of your human body, right? But
yeah, I'd love to chop it up with.
I have it on this one too.
I love it. I'd love to chop it up with people on their version of God. You know, I'd love to chop it up, and I'd love to. You know,
that'll be it. We'll
Yeah.
that'll definitely be some of the topics that
Love
we'll
it.
hit there.
I love it. Love
But
it all.
look at, if you're having an issue with your family, if you're having an issue with a family member, take a breath, take a pause, and see if that issue, is it really the issue, or is it your need to be right?
Yes.
The issue is never the problem. It's an issue could be resolved. We create a problem. Have you created a problem from this issue, or has the other person created a problem from this issue? What can you do to resolve it? Is that relationship worth it for you? Do you want to see your family get torn apart or not? Would you rather have that? People go, I would love if everybody at Thanksgiving got along. You can. Like
You can.
By the way, they're all possibilities. We believe it's not because we've been taught to act like, imbeciles at times, but if
I mean, I see it all the time.
yeah, it's absolutely plausible. It can be done. And it just takes somebody to take that step and use a different approach. And if you haven't read my book, friggin' read it, because it'll teach you how to do it. I mean, everybody who's read it has told me one thing. You changed the way I look at things. That's it. Like, not that I reinvent, you changed the way. One of my neighbors was walking with her husband 2 weeks ago. Say, I didn't even know they bought my book. They're like, you bought your book. And I've dealt with blah, blah, blah in my life. And I got to tell you, like, I see things differently now. Like, you like the way you worded things. I'm like, yes, it's that simple. And it's not to sell 1,000 copies or 1,000,000 copies or 20 copies. There's a lot of useful stuff in here.
So I said it before. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
You're going to have an easy time reading it. It's not intricate at all.
Yeah, I sound like a third grader.
But here's the best part. As you read it, it's like an invisible hand comes out and goes into your brain, and you can relate to the story that you wrote.
Absolutely.
So you see yourself behind the eyeballs of John for a minute there, as he's talking about his youth, as he's talking about the things that used to torment him, as he's talking. So it's weird because we can all relate somehow. And it's that ability to relate. And by the way, relate quickly, relate immediately to the point, and then the explanation of why we do what we do and the things. And oh my God, it's a level of eye-opening that, like, that person that stopped you is, wow, I think about it differently now. Yeah, there's another way to think about it. It's another angle to it. And then you realize, wait a minute, I am like nothing but a coffee grind in the entire, the system. When you realize that, you're like, oh my God, the whole time I thought I was a system. Yeah, because that's how powerful the ego is.
Yeah.
It's all encompassing, wrapping you up, and you're like, there is nobody else living it. It's me. It's you're renting it. I own it. Like,
yeah.
No, we're all renting.
Yeah. And the lease expires one day.
Yeah, we're all renting.
All right. So
it was beautiful, and hope you guys enjoyed this. This season 2, episode 1.
I know. Brick wall.
Oh, you're bleeding now. Oh man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, this will be season 2. This will be going to be labeled episode 1 of season 2. Like I said, we're trying to kind of get back to the mental health part of this and the mindful part of this, and just try to put out as much good content as we can. And we're going to try to keep the episode shorter. This will get trimmed down a little bit too.
Yep.
So thank you everybody for tuning in. Hope you like the brick wall.
Yes, and before you press power,
like, subscribe,
please.
I knew it was gonna
please
say that.
help us out in this way.
Yeah,
it costs nothing. All right, you got this great
just
entertainment
subscribe.
here.
Subscribe on YouTube. The links are always there. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on, I'm on Instagram and on Facebook, but the Universal Lens is on Facebook also. Find us there, like, subscribe, follow along. I put up content personally a lot. But yeah, follow the show. And if you have any criticisms or critiques or you want a topic, let us know.
If you'd like to contribute, contact.
Yeah.
And if you want to contribute but not come on the air, that's fine too.
Yeah. And we take checks and Venmo. All right, everybody. Have a great week.
Yes.
Till then,
Adieu.
peace and love.
Adieu.
Adieu, everybody. Stay safe. Love to all. We'll talk to you guys soon. The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.